I was going to take those fairings and stuff off the airplane. They're pretty dirty, both from use and from sitting around here for 3 years. I'm going to take those out and wash those off today. The bottom of those spreader bars off the new floats are pretty dirty, but it's pouring down rain out there today. It was just raining so hard a few minutes ago it was splashing up 6-8 inches off the ground. So I've been tinkering around with some other things. I got that cover for that lower rear handhold cover on the tail there on the elevator that goes on the left side where that nav light, beacon light supply line goes through there. I got that drilled out for a 1-inch grommet and fitted it up. Now I've just temporarily tied those wires together there on those feed lines to make sure everything works, and the beacon works and the rear nav light works, so that's a good sign. Oh, now I can put the plug on those. Plug will go on the inside of the fuselage there, and it comes out the lower portion of that rudder, and it'll have enough on there that it can swing back and forth. Well, that finishes off the tail. That's the cover, and the wire goes through that. Plugged in a plug on the inside of the fuselage there. That still has to be screwed on, but wait till Jim gets in here to do the final inspection on the airplane before we screw the panels on, the covers on and stuff. It finishes that off pretty nice, I think. And the aft position light works like it's supposed to. And the beacon is beaconing. Beacon is beckoning. Still need to do the final adjustment on that elevator cable tension and safety wire, that upper cable for the elevator control. But otherwise, putting the inspection covers will finish this tail off. I've been waiting to put some of this stuff together until we get finished with everything else so it doesn't get boogered up during the installation of everything else. I guess it's time I should go ahead and start putting some of it on there. One of the things I can do here is put this seal around this baggage compartment door. I got this rubber seal here I found off eBay, a 3M seal. It's a nice double seal. It should flatten out good, so that should seal up this baggage compartment door real well. Oh, I was getting banged around in here in the shop. I was having to move it and it's getting bumped around and stuff like that, so there was a chance that it'd get boogered up here just doing nothing before I get a chance to put it on. So I might as well get it on there. It's got double stick adhesive tape on it, 3M tape on it, and it's a double channel rubber sealant. So it feels like a pretty nice seal. So there we go. Let's see how that works now. I guess I built the door too tight. That's more seal than I need. I've been waiting to put some of this peripheral stuff on here, like the baggage compartment doors and the main door, cabin door, and the windows, and a few other odds and ends until we get closer to having the airplane finished. I figured if I kept them off in a safe spot, they wouldn't get all banged up and stuff while we were working on the plane. But I guess it's come to the time where I should start putting that stuff on. Well, now I had the baggage compartment door back here on this upper baggage compartment door. That's been on the whole time, but I just put this forward baggage compartment door on. I tried to put some weather stripping around that rear baggage compartment door, and I had this stuff here that's a B bead, and it's pretty small. I thought that would work for the back one, and I've got some wider stuff for this one, but it didn't work on the back one. It was just too much for it. That door fits up there pretty tight. So this stuff was just too much for that. It is hollow and it does collapse pretty good, but this stuff was just too tight for it. So I took it off and I put the piece that I had on it, on that back baggage compartment door, on this forward one here to see if it would work, and it works just fine. It works perfect. I thought I needed some thicker stuff on there, but that one works just perfect. But it's not quite long enough here, and this is just the piece that I'd already messed up by taking the cover off the tape on it. So I thought I'd try it on there, and it works. So I'll go ahead and put another piece on there now. I won't put it across here where the hinge is because that's really tight there, And of course the main thing is to keep the water from running into that. The water will come this way when we're flying, and down this way when it's sitting. Well, this thing was mounted. Of course, I've got it riveted on this aluminum hinge here, riveted on down at the bottom of the door, and then it's screwed into this framework around here with some number 4 flathead screws. And then to attach it up here, I've got Southco fasteners. Well, this is what a Southco fastener is. It's got a little knuckle or cam here on the end of it that fits into receptacle, and this is one type of receptacle here. It's a rivets on the back side of the skin or something, and it's got slots in it there. Well, this thing just fits in there in that hole and then just cams over and locks in, and it pulls it in tight when it does, if you have the right length of screw. Now these come in different lengths of shank for different thicknesses of material to go through. Now this is another type of receptacle. This one is made for sliding over sheet metal. It's like a Tinnerman nut almost, except it's a Southco fastener. And then this one is spring loaded. It fits down into a square hole and snaps in there. Now these things come, like I said, they come in different lengths. They also come in different sizes. This is one of the larger sizes. There is a smaller one. They come with different heads. They come with a slotted head, a slotted screwdriver, and a Phillips head. And then this one is a winged one. It has a wing in the slot, so you can just open it with your thumb instead of using a screwdriver. And you can get these in different orientations according to this cam. So like this one, these ones here are oriented so that the wing is parallel with the longitudinal line of the airplane. When it's closed, you can get them so that they are the other way, so that they're up like that when it's closed. Now they make these in stainless steel, and I tried to get them in stainless steel. I think these are zinc plated. Everybody's got them in their catalog, but nobody carries them in stock, and so you have to order 10,000 of them at a time to get them. And the list price for individuals ones are not that much, but when you go to buy the 100,000, then you're thousands of dollars into them. So I'll wind up getting these. Well, I put those on there, and I had these on when I painted the fuselage. Had the baggage compartment door on there to paint it, and so they got painted a little bit. Well, hopefully that'll protect them enough. Now the mount hole for these Southco fasteners is larger than the diameter of the shank of the fastener, and it has to be larger so that you can get this cam in there. And there's a little ring molded onto that on the end, or forged onto it, however they make that, and that's also larger than the size of the shank. So those things would just fall out of the hole, but they have a little spring-loaded washer that fits over that, and you push that on, and once it goes on, it snaps in behind this ring, and that's what holds it in. And then on the outside of it, there's a little plastic bushing or washer that goes over it to protect the metal from the camming action of that from disturbing the paint or galling the metal or whatever. And you get these in different colors, so you can get them either in, well, 2 different colors, black or white. Now on the inside, on the baggage compartment entryway for the upper rear baggage compartment, I got some with a bail on them like this, and that's another type that you can get. It's with that bail on it. So the baggage compartment door is mounted up. I want to go ahead and get that weather stripping changed over and put the new weather stripping on there. On the front seat of the Cub, the seat belts normally mount to the seat frame, to the seat itself, right up here. There was no provision for a shoulder harness, but on the L-21, the military version of it, they did have a shoulder harness, and it attached to the back of the seat frame and went over the shoulders, went over the top of the shoulders and buckled in that way. Well, there's not much holding everything down. It's just a sheet metal, 16 gauge or lighter. These legs of this seat could rip out, but the belt was actually attached to the part of the seat that slides back and forth on that rail. So in a sudden stop, you had 150, 200 pounds, whatever, of dead weight in that seat attached to it with a seat belt, and the forward motion there would tear the seat right out, and the occupant then would go ahead and go through the windshield or into the V-braces or something disastrous like that. The Cub Crafters had a modification that they put in this airplane, or in the old airframe when I bought it, to attach shoulder harnesses, and they basically just attached a couple of AN 741 7s clamps to the carry-through member for the rear spar, and then attached a shoulder harness to that. And in the back seat, they attached it to the back of the V-brace back there and attached the shoulder harness to that. Well, in this fuselage, when I had it built, I had tabs put in there to put shoulder harnesses in instead of using those clamps. And then we had tabs mounted in here on the fuselage on one of these members down here to attach the seat belts directly to the floor instead of the seat. So we've got a lot better anchorage there. I'd put the shoulder harness portion in for the back seat when I was putting the airplane together, because it goes in on top of the baggage compartment cover, the kydex there that I built into for the baggage compartment. It goes in on top of that and comes through that kydex. But I didn't put the back seat belts in, and I was waiting to put the front seat belts in until we got closer to being finished. Now, moving the anchor point for these seat belts back down here to the floor instead of up here on the seat, I figured I'd need longer seat belts, and the seat belts were 15, 16, 17 years old anyway, so I sent them down to my mechanic, who said he knew places down there that could redo the seat belts, and I figured I'd have them lengthened, especially these ones in the front, because of the change in the anchor point on them. And I figured since the fuselage was 4 inches wider, I'd have the rear ones lengthened a little bit too. Well, none of those places down there that he knew of will do aircraft seat belts anymore, so he wound up sending them down to the factory to AmSafe, and that turned into a nightmare. Those people at AmSafe, it's just like they didn't really want to deal with us at all. We went round and around with them for about 4 months before I finally give up on them. So I called up Cub Crafters and ordered seat belts from them for the front seat, and the ones for the back seat will be just fine. Cub Crafters uses AmSafe anyway, so they're the same seat belt as we'd have got from them. I just went through Cub Crafters and dealt in the middleman. So anyway, the seat belts are now installed. I'm going to get ready to put the seats in. But one of the things I want to do before I put the seats in is fix up the main supply cable for this battery, for this electrical cord. So I've been running just a 10 gauge, maybe that's an 8 gauge wire here from the battery through everything for electrical testing and stuff. It doesn't even need to be that big for the testing that I've done, but that's good wire I had. But once we get everything all together, I should have a wire at least as heavy duty as the one that goes to the starter. So I've got a big cable for that. I just have to make it up. And so that's the next thing I'm going to do here right now, is go ahead and make up that battery cable. Then I'll probably take the battery out for the time being until we get the engine on. There's no point in having live current. Of course, it won't be live anyway unless the switch is on, but there's no point taking a chance in it while we get the engine mounted and stuff until we get the starter hooked up and all of that. There's the new battery cable all hooked up, and I tested it out and it works just fine. That's a 2 gauge cable. That's actually the old battery cable that came out of the old airframe and went from the battery to the solenoids. I had to cut it off to fit. Anyway, that's in there, and that's a lot better. That should carry the current needed for the starter. Got the cable for the battery made up and that put in. Went ahead and put the back seat in. That's all set up in there now. That just takes 4 pins, get it out. Actually, I can take 2 pins and take the back out, and then 4 pins to take the bottom out, and that can go in that upper aft baggage compartment for storage if I need to take that out to use it, and then have all that cargo space in there. Then I went ahead and put the front seat bottom in. I had to put it in before I could put the control stick in, because it goes forward there and then slides back on the rails. Well, I got that set in there, and then put the front stick in, and I put the seat cushions in. Oh, she's all set up now. I can get in there and sit in there and get some stick time, get current. Get in there and hold on to the stick and go vroom, vroom, vroom. Looking like an airplane more and more all the time.